How come I can't navigate up to my second screen and click the button on the phone?
On the phone. That is not a part of your computer.
Scoot in, you're a little off.
Okay.
Hello. Hello, guys. I'm rocking one color today. I'm in the turquoise.
Yeah,
mood.
well, you're in the... Because you just went for a walk.
I did. I didn't go.
Weather's
beautiful, but I had a full and stressful day, and I did not get out and moving until like 5 o'clock this evening. So.
Yeah, dealing with website disasters and.
Oh my gosh.
Not the Adrienne O website.
Nope.
Which we've got some news coming up, I suppose, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, right. News coming up. I was like, it's today. We have news for today.
We have news for today. I guess we're going to start doing more things where we kind of like, like acknowledge that we do these parts that just like not every podcast will have them, but, we kind of keep drifting into these things that we talk about. Segments. That's what they call it in entertainment, which this is not. So, just in case you're going to keep watching, we know. And
it's not like we're planning these segments out. We might label them as they occur. So
we don't plan any of it.
Fair warning.
Maybe if it catches on, we'll get some stings in. That's when the little musical moment.
What?
Stings?
Yeah. What are that? What are that?
What are that? It's been a rough day.
I'm done with words.
When they have the thing on TV where they do the little, like, there's a little, like, 3-second musical cue for whatever's going to happen next.
Oh.
Like, now for news.
Right, okay. We're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that. But, if you guys want to do them, you two people watching this, Mom, if you want to learn production and start making some stings for us, that'd be great. That's an old radio term. They always, that's when they, the goofy morning zoo. Yeah, those are stings. Anyway,
okay.
Let's get right into the news. Now for news.
There we go. All right. Today's news is thing I have mentioned a couple times in previous podcasts, but the day is here. This month, Adrienne O, which is our band, but of course is named after me because I'm the singer and I'm whatever. Our band is featured on 102.3 FM and other sister radio stations all around the state every day the entire month. So we have 2 singles, the 2 that we released last year, What, and You Don't Want My Love, both of which Justin wrote.
Right. And
they are both being played all month on Indie 102.3, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, featured artist of the month for 102.3, Indie 102.3, I think, and then of course they have stations. I saw the list; it's really crazy.
Yeah,
like
it's
some
all
very
over.
Small towns too, but the Springs and
up to Fort Collins, down to the whole Front Range. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's an amazing thing. It's I feel so fortunate that Alicia? Yeah. At 102.3 picked us to do that. And even more fortunate because, we weren't really we weren't putting any effort into promoting ourselves. We were just making these goofy videos because it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a little, it was post really pandemic, but it was a little bit of kind of that make stuff to just make stuff for your own entertainment, which I think really has really bled into the new music. I read.
Oh, it sure has. Yeah.
Your post and you were telling me when you picked me up from the studio the other day, that you've been listening to the stuff.
Oh my gosh.
You and I have been making.
Yeah. Because I drove up to Fort Collins twice this weekend. We should talk about that.
Yeah, we got
FoCoMx.
that. Yeah.
Drove up and back twice, and the second time when you weren't with me, I listened to our new demos all the way there and all the way back, just on repeat, and the trip flew by. I was like, what? I'm already in Fort Collins? Has it only been 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm not trying to please anyone with this music except myself, and damn, I am fulfilling that goal.
I think that should be everybody's, as an artist, as an original artist, as somebody that's making stuff and putting it out into the world, that really should be your goal is like, I'm going to make what I want to hear. Mm-hmm. Trying to second guess, I've talked about this before, but trying to second guess what other people will like or won't like or whatever is, it's too hard to do. You kind of have to go like, I've talked about, even we were talking in the car about No Addresses thing about like, we want to make what we feel like is missing.
Right.
I'm not seeing, I'm missing hearing this thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make it. Mm-hmm. And that's a great place to be coming from. Yeah. Yeah. And there is nothing more like the ecstatic joy of listening to something that you've made yourself when it's brand new and you're just like so like thrilled that it's not perfect or anything, but it just sort of is like. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great
You took that video of me driving in the car, like.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like headbanging to our own music. I was like, yeah, that's how it goes. Love it. I can't wait to play that live.
And if it sounds self-congratulatory at all, you got to understand how rare it is that you're thrilled as an artist, as a musician, that you're thrilled with your own stuff and thrilled with what you're doing. Right. And even the ones you're thrilled about, it's not going to last. You've just got that,
I will enjoy it for now then.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it while we're in the honeymoon period of this great idea. And then... so that's the big news. Yeah. And lots of new Adrienne O music coming. We talked about the show coming. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I mentioned going up to Fort Collins.
Yeah.
Well, we went up to Fort Collins on Friday, and I went up again on Sunday. So we played with Cody Qualls on the brand new Ancients.
At FoCoMx, which I learned was Fort Collins Music Experiment, which I did not know what the... abbreviation was for.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it wasn't Fort Collins, Mexico, but I did not know what MX was. And also, experiment does not start with an X, so a little misleading there. But yeah, FoCoMx is a weekend-long music festival that they do all over the city. They've got multiple stages. Mm-hmm. I have never personally been to a better... kinder, more well-run.
Oh my gosh.
The organization and how nice everyone that was artist-facing was, unbelievable.
Yeah, we got there to check in, and they have like an artist hangout area with free food and free drinks, and
that's just why you're picking up your wristband.
Yeah, and free drug testing kits, and we didn't need any of those, but I mean, all kinds of stuff to just like make sure people are well cared for and safe. Yeah. And then they even had, we didn't take advantage of it, but they even had like a quiet green room area.
Oh yeah, where they had like
a gong bath, and like it was like for like if you get sensory overload from being like around all this loud music and all these people, you can go to this place and chill out.
Guided meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of the staff we interacted with were so friendly, so helpful, so like just
clearly
made us feel
excited
happy
to be doing it.
Yeah. They made us feel really, really welcome, like they were happy to have us there. And incredible sound person. I want to give a shout out to Daphne at the Lyric in Fort Collins. Wow. So great stage levels, incredible sound in the house. And I know this not only because I played on stage, so I experienced the monitor situation.
You were back, yeah.
But when I was watching the band before us at Cody's show, and when I was watching the band before Pamela on Sunday, it sounded like a record. Yeah. Like I literally, I wasn't paying attention. Some music started up, and I was like, oh, they're playing some filler music from a CD, and then I look over and there's real humans playing music, and I was like, that it's that clear and that well mixed and balanced. I was like, oh, it was so good.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, that's a recommendation. If you need sound,
the recommendation is one of our segments now, right?
Yeah. It's Daphne in Fort Collins. I assume she's based up there. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think she works at the Lyric usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which the Lyric, maybe one of the coolest places we've been. That's where we played with Cody, and then you came back and played outside with Pamela. Mm-hmm. It is an old theater, movie theater, but it's not big like the Oriental or all the theaters we do, Rialto and stuff. It maybe 100 seats. But inside was almost like Meow Wolf. Like, it was just art stuff, and they have this theme, like something. I think Alien Ship is kind of the theme or something, because the one room we played in was called the Mothership, and the other one was, I think, called the Control Room. But they're both theaters, so they have like a movie theater would have more than one theater, and they normally do movies and stuff, but all the hallways and doors and stuff had like crazy artsy painted, you know, and they had all this like old weird plumbing stuff that was just on the walls, and it was all the door handles and stuff. So
lots of found sculptures, found material sculptures,
right,
and
the
stuff.
outside part of it was just amazing. Yeah. So the Lyric in Fort Collins, another recommendation.
They also sell local artists' creations, and they have a bar. And do they have food? Yeah, I think they have some food. Yeah, so a great place to hang out. Apparently, it's the place.
So the Cody gig went great.
Oh yeah. So
Ryan Elwood's first gig with Cody. Of course, we play with Brian all the time, but that was Ryan's first gig. He's substituting in for Greg, as Ryan, subs all the time for people. And I thought the show went great.
Yeah.
It could have gone better.
Yeah.
It was a little weird doing 45 minutes because Cody, we often do longer than that. We kind of do 2 hours-ish. So it felt a little...
went by so quickly.
Yeah, it went by really quickly.
But man, Cody brought it on Rap Game. I've never seen or heard him perform so intensely on that song. It was really cool.
Yeah. Cody will bring it, I mean, like, that's... It made me happy, too. Like, as a performer, you like playing with people who are like, okay, I gotta up my game for this, like, I can do that, Or I'm willing to try, at least. I'm not just gonna stand there and do the same thing I always do, And then you were back with Pamela, which apparently went great.
Yeah, that went great. There was a really attentive crowd. We were, like you said, we were outdoors on the stage that we would have played outdoors on with Cody, except that it was too windy on Friday, so we moved indoors with Cody. The stage, man, it was such a colorful place. So first of all, the Lyric is very colorful because of all the paintings and the materials. And the stage is, there's a stage and then a drum riser that's higher, and there's these 2x4s, and every other 2x4 is painted a different color. So the main stage is painted like one plank is red and the other's purple, and it goes on. And then on the drum riser, like one of them's yellow, one of them's green, and it alternates yellow and green. And then on top of that, subbing in on drums, I had a drum sub with Pamela too, was Mckenna Reeve. She subs a lot in Fort Collins, and she plays all the time. Okay. And her drum kit is the most colorful drum kit I've ever seen.
Oh, really? You didn't mention that.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, I can't remember which was it, but the snare was yellow and the kick was pink and the tom was blue and something like that.
Oh, wow.
And so like that plus the overhead, the shade was red over the whole stage. So this place, it was like a riot of color.
That is so interesting. Yeah, we didn't get to see it because Friday it was really windy and actually a little chilly up in Fort Collins. Yeah. So we were inside instead.
But again, Mckenna did great subbing in. She was incredibly prepared. Rehearsal was really smooth, and she did just perfectly at the show. I mean, I love working with people who do their homework.
That at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is doing your homework. I mean, whether it's for a studio session or a live gig or anything, showing up really having prepared your stuff and really, knowing exactly what needs to get done, that's 75% of the whole thing.
And you would think that that's kind of an obvious thing that shouldn't need to be said, but oh my gosh, how many drummers did we go through when we were trying to get a drummer for Adrienne O? Like, people just not learning stuff rehearsal after rehearsal, and it's like, oh man, my temper got so short eventually. I was like, come in, one rehearsal, no, you didn't take this seriously. I think that's part of what contributed to the ultimate temporary demise of our band. I was just so tired of looking for drummers who knew what they were doing. And then we got Ryan. Right. And I was like, one rehearsal and everything is perfect.
Yeah, and then that'll
ruin it. It can be like this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So good.
And then, speaking of Cody, I was with Cody at Niecy's Saturday night. So we were Fort Collins, and then Saturday I was up at Niecy's, which we've talked about a bunch. And we were doing a acoustic gig for the Rotary. They were doing their big yearly event. I don't know. And Cody was the featured performer.
That is a big place to fill a whole set with just voice and guitar.
Yeah. Which we only did like half hour. It was like a real feature set, kind of like here's dinner and then there's going to be an entertainment portion and then they're going to do the speeches and awards and whatever. But Cody being, famous in the northern part of Denver, Boulder County and stuff, he was the entertainment. So yeah, it was just me on acoustic and Cody on vocals, obviously. And we've done that. We don't do that often, but we've done it a bit. So it wasn't a brand new thing. We've done a few gigs that way. And I just basically try to... Cody's music is so rhythmic and drum-based often. It's either that or it's like super slow and classical, and that's easy to do on guitar. But the funkier, more full band stuff, I just try to bang on the guitar as much as I can and just kind of get as much sound going as possible. And it went great. Again, I mean, we were just saying the guy's a consummate performer. He very charming.
He can carry any room.
Yeah, really. And it was, I would bet 200 people.
Cool.
So it was, it was kind of a lot. Another recommendation, Rachel Leonard, who runs sound around town. She runs sound at Niecy's. She's run sound for us several times at Niecy's. And she's apparently getting it all over the place. So, I want to send us a shout out to sound people.
That's interesting. We've both mentioned female sound engineers in this podcast, which is really unusual. You don't come across that very often.
It's very rare.
And I am seeing more female musicians in the scene these days. Not that I'm super in the scene, but being at FoCoMx, I saw lots of female musicians.
Yeah, it did seem like... I'm loving it. Yeah, right.
I love that, like, it's starting to not become such a weird thing for there to be a woman playing some instrument, especially in the rhythm section.
Right.
On stage. You're seeing it more and more.
You're seeing it more and more.
Or at least I'm seeing it more and more. I don't know if it's happening more and more, but I'm seeing it more and more, so therefore it feels like a trend.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, too, I mean, I think I have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for that because, like, I mean, how I got my career going as a recording engineer was doing Riot Girl, all-girl punk bands. I mean, those were the first projects that I did that started getting, a little bit of my name out there and stuff. And then, as getting more into the music business, it just really was kind of like a boys club, and it was rare that there was, a female, and if there was, it was probably a singer, not a bass player. So it's great to see. Not that that's at all why I'm complimenting either of those people, but, it is great to see, and it's rare. I mean, the odds that you would roll up to a venue and the sound person is female that used to just be... There's no chance that's happening.
Yeah.
I'll bet you $100 it's a grumpy dude.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pretty much, yeah. So anyway, Niecy's went great. Had a good time. I got to eat Chipotle by Niecy's twice this week.
Oh my gosh.
Good week.
Except Chipotle let us down.
I gotta say, I'm saddened. There's a recommendation for you. If you are going to eat at the Chipotle by Niecy's, make sure they put protein in, because we did get a burrito with no chicken in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we paid for chicken.
Yeah, we did. But we still love them. They're still the best. And...
you got me a burrito with chicken the next night.
The next night, yeah. So that's how crazy I am about Mexican food. I think I could eat Mexican food every day.
Oh,
I would probably be fine.
Oh, would you pick Mexican or Thai? We've talked about this. Like, if you had to only eat one kind of food the rest of your life. I would say stir fry. And I thought you said stir fry before.
Yeah, but that was because we were eating delicious stir fry. So in the moment, I was like, I'm only going to eat stir fry. That would be very hard to say. I mean, Mexican. Yeah, it would be one of the two. I can't say. But yeah, we did. Oh my gosh, that stir fry the other night was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while you just nail a recipe and you're like.
Yeah.
Gosh, so what else do we have? We've got the Adrienne O thing, we've got gigs, and we've got
Well, we wanted to try to hit a couple segments. I know you don't want to organize this, but we haven't hit them yet, so I'm going to bring them up. We wanted to do a tips or lessons or screw ups section. So I have one thing to say there, and then we wanted to do an unpopular opinions section. You had something to say there. My screw up this week was not tuning my bass again right before the show outdoors at Pamela's. So it was a half-hour setup.
I see. Right.
So I took the bass out. It was a half-hour switchover between bands. So I took the bass out at probably with like 20 minutes before the show, set it up, tuned it probably 15 minutes before the show. Then we did sound check for 10 minutes. Actually, we sound checked until 1 minute before show. So we went straight from sound check into the show. But in that 15 or 20 minutes that the bass was out of the case in the outdoors weather, it went out of tune. And we were playing that first song and I was like, well, it feels sour. It wasn't atrocious, but it was definitely off. And I was like, I know it's not Pamela because she's on the keyboard. No, it's not Mckenna because drums are just fine.
Yeah. It's
either the guitar player, Amanda, or me. And I bet you it's me. And I just was like, yeah, it's me. So that was my screw up of the week. So
what did you do?
I tuned between the first and second song.
Yeah.
I tried to look for a place where I could tune during the first song, but I just couldn't do it fast enough. It was at least 3 of the 4 strings.
And you have a pedal tuner on your...
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's much
Oh gosh, no, I went to... Blum, 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 blum.
Well, I know,
blum,
I'm
blum,
just
blum,
saying,
blum.
everybody uses the clip-on tuners now, but like the pedal tuner is so much faster. You know, and it mutes you automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, That was my screw up of the week.
I've talked about that. We've talked about several petty gigs where you take guitars outside and guitars lose their minds outside. They just, like, the difference in temperature.
I have a new sympathy
humidity.
for you.
Yeah. I'm sure we were talking on the podcast. There was that one show we did last summer where I finally just had to, like, in petty nicks, I usually switch between 5 or 7 guitars, depending. And I just had to pick one and hold on to that one because it seemed like it was dealing with temperature changes the best. And just go like, well, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, but at least I can stay kind of in tune.
Yeah.
Although it's harder with bass because guitar stops a lot. So I can just stop for a verse and tune. That's not, know.
Yeah, I tried to drop out in the second verse. But whatever the song was, it felt too empty.
It's
so
a rare.
I came back
it's
in.
a rare song that you can do that for sure. Yeah. Well, although that does bring up a tip, I would say if anybody gets into a festival situation, number one, you got to keep tuning like crazy.
Just tune and keep tuning and keep tuning.
And this wasn't your problem, but it is worth remembering to that on those kind of festival things, or even on nights when there's a lot of bands, which we don't really do anymore, but as you're coming up and I'm about to start doing it with some original stuff, we might be doing it with some original stuff. Sometimes you do have to modify your rig and stuff for, hey, we're only going to get a limited amount of time to set up. And 30 minutes is actually generous. I was amazed that before Cody's show, we had a 45-minute switchover, which I will get directly to a tip there. By the way, it is, in any situation where you're playing with other bands, it is incredibly rude not to get off stage as quickly as possible with your equipment.
Yeah, when your set is over.
As soon as you're done, you need to get your stuff off stage. And I won't call anybody out, but the band that played before us, the guitar player did spend 15 minutes carefully wrapping his cables and putting them in his thing and getting his pedal board. And it took literally a little over 15 minutes for him to get out of the way so that anybody else could start setting up. And it was just like the unbelievable, and the drummer of the band did the same thing. I really don't want to call anybody out. He started moving stuff.
The bassist packed up his stuff but left it on stage.
Yeah.
His guitar was in the case leaning against his bass amp, and I was kind of like...
Etiquette is that you get your stage off. Which, I will brag on myself, I literally looked at the phone as soon as we got done, because it's also, you should leave stage and then come right back. You shouldn't just immediately start packing up, because that's lame. But I looked at my phone, and I was like, we're done, and I and all my gear was off stage in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Because I didn't wrap cables.
Yeah,
I didn't do any of that. I just
Yeah, me too. I just grabbed all my cables and I put them in a pile in the front of the stage.
You can wrap cables off stage.
Yeah.
Like, that's really... Even if it is if you're the end of the night or the only band, then hey, no problem.
Yeah.
If there's anybody else, you should not be wrapping cables on stage.
Yeah, I mean, some festivals have a 15-minute turnover. Like Taste of Colorado.
Yeah, Taste of Colorado is 15 minutes.
Man, so your drum kit is set up off stage. Like, everything is, like, you're set up, and as soon as the band before you gets off, like, they're expected to, like, stop playing and then pick up stuff and get off stage. Like, you pick it up and walk off.
Yeah, you don't even... Yeah.
Because 15 minutes for changeover plus a sound check
is so fast.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Can be done, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's got to move like a well-oiled
machine. We had to do it all the time.
So you had an unpopular opinion you were going to share.
More unpopular than don't wrap cables on stage. I was just talking, speaking of guitar, I was just like starting to wonder, like seeing a lot of music, and we've been working on so much new music, and I'm just kind of getting like I'm wondering what to do. So unpopular, watered down opinion. I'm wondering about generic blues-ish guitar.
Wondering about
whether
the world needs any more of it?
Whether the world needs any more of it. Should we keep doing that? And I'm guilty too. I mean, I love a blues solo, and I tend towards being a bluesy guitar player, and certainly I'm sure I'll do tons of that generic guitar playing, but there's part of me that's like, the standard pentatonic, you're just kind of wailing on the thing. I mean, that's all I do with Petty Nicks too. But, Campbell did it a long time ago. I'm starting to wonder about, like, do guitar players need to just keep making more of that? Mm-hmm. Where it's like that solo could have been on any record in the last 50 years because it is just so milquetoast and does not have any teeth to it, and there's nothing, it's kind of a standard, really great, warm, bluesy tone, but like we've heard that, and like the same scales and the same licks and the same, and I'm saying I do it too. I'm just starting to like really wonder, like, how is it helping anybody to just keep putting more of the same thing out into the world?
So were you saying to me the other night that you were maybe going to look at ways to like make new creative sounds with your guitar?
I'm hoping to. Yeah, that's kind of what it is, where it's like, just doing something, really actually trying to find something different to do with solos, which in and of itself is not all that new. I mean, Hendrix reinvented the thing. Eddie Van Halen reinvented the thing. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine reinvented the thing. Like, people have always done that, but I'm starting to think like it's some of it's producing the new Adrienne O stuff, where it's like, well, there needs to be a solo here, but like, should I do another blues solo? Like, I mean, does this, with original music at least, how is anybody helped by putting more of this out into the world? Like, I'm not going to do it better than any of those guys. Should I just find something else to do? And it at the same time, I'm a weird guitar player, so I do things that aren't normal. But who knows? I'm just kind of wondering about, and I guess this relates exactly to the kind of the flip side is like some of the most popular bands. We were listening to Maneskin or whatever. And
Maneskin, I think.
Maneskin in the car. And it just came on 102.3. And I was saying how their record was so, and I don't want to be mean to anybody, but to me, I was like, this is so, we've heard this. This is straight up the gut, good old-fashioned rock and roll, but there's a lot of that out there. Does there need to be more of that? Am I going to get through all the straight up the gut classic rock and roll guitar that already exists in the world? Like, I probably don't have time left in my life to listen to all the great records from the 60s and 70s. And, you've got all the ones that are the huge classics and the Led Zeppelins, but there were so many other bands. I mean, Cactus, like I'm not going to have time to go back and listen to Cactus. Does somebody need to keep making more Cactus records? Or, I'll like Greta Van Fleet, where it's like, well, this is just, and I think they're moving into some new stuff, and I don't want to take anything away from anybody's success, but you're like, do we really need more Led Zeppelin in the world? Like, Led Zeppelin kind of did Led Zeppelin. Like, do we need just new Led Zeppelin? I mean, I don't know. That's my unpopular opinion. I'll water it down. I'm not real sure, but like, I've just started getting like self-conscious doing guitar things where I'm like, I'm just repeating, I'm not taking this anywhere.
I think that is why I like one of my songs so much. I'm sure that everything is derivative of everything else to some degree. That's how we become artists.
Of course.
But I feel like the one that I'm calling My Museum Mausoleum.
Right.
That one feels unique to me. It feels very real. It feels like I'm pulling no punches, like you said. And it's not a normal song.
Right.
And I'm so proud of that.
It is not at all a normal song. It where it starts and where it ends, it's like
and the structure from here to there, like
it is surprising.
Yeah, and I'm so proud that I feel like I, in my small way, am I'm creating something that is not just a new version of something that exists, but it's a new thing. It's a new type of thing.
Right.
I mean, it's not like.
Well,
whatever.
I mean, to your point, I say all the time, like, to a degree, everything has been done. If you discover a new chord progression that no one's ever used before, you've just discovered a terrible chord progression that sounds awful. Because, you know what I mean? Like, there's only so many things that sound good in the world. There's only 12 notes that exist in the world. We figured out the good combinations. So in some ways you're always going over ground that has been trod. You're never finding totally new. But when you can find a new spin on something, I guess you gave the perfect example. That's what I'm starting to look for in my guitar playing, is how can I put an original honest spin on something that just isn't, we've heard it. You know? It's rough. It's rough. Yeah, so that's my unpopular opinion.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we should probably call it. Mm-hmm. And
about that time.
Sure, I'm making weird eyes because I'm looking at the notes. So we're of course sponsored by Performance High
Voice and Music Studio.
And
who else are we sponsored by this week?
I think this week we are sponsored by Mexican food.
Yeah, we did have a lot of burritos this week.
Thanks to Mexican food. We like all the combinations. We're really honored to be sponsored by
the concept of burritos.
A national cuisine. It's a big get for us. It's a big get. All right.
Okay. See you guys next week.